There is a tiredness that sleep cannot touch, a weariness that lives in your bones. Coffee can't hide it. A vacation can't cure it. It is the bone-deep exhaustion that so many women over 40 know intimately, yet so few of us dare to speak about. You go to the doctor. You tell them, "I'm so tired." They run the tests. They look at the numbers, and they say, "Everything is normal." And in that moment, a quiet, heavy shame sets in. The feeling that maybe it's all in your head, that you are somehow failing. But what if, for all these years, we have been asking the wrong question? What if the problem was never our body, but our understanding of it? The great psychologist Carl Jung understood a profound truth, that the body keeps the score, that it is the physical stage for the unlived dramas of the soul. What if your exhaustion isn't a sign that your body is broken? What if it is a message, a sacred, urgent letter from a part of you that has been silent for far too long? Today, we are not going to fight our fatigue. We are going to learn its language. We will explore the invisible energy leaks, the heavy masks we wear, and the parts of our soul that are crying out for attention. We will begin the journey of shadow work, not as a task, but as an act of profound self-compassion. Because the path to true rest doesn't begin with trying to fall asleep. It begins by waking up.
There is a common mistake we make when we feel this deep exhaustion. It is a quiet, innocent mistake, born from a lifetime of being told to be strong, to be productive. We treat our soul like a car that has run out of gas, and so we try to refuel. We try to pour more in, more sleep, more caffeine, more supplements, more positive thinking. We try to push harder, believing that if we just add enough fuel, the engine will start again. But what happens when you keep filling the tank and the car still won't run? The consequence is a second layer of exhaustion. Not just the exhaustion of your life, but the exhaustion of trying and failing to fix yourself. This is where the shame we spoke of takes root, the quiet belief that you are fundamentally broken. But the wisdom of Carl Jung offers us a completely different map. He would suggest that for many women in midlife, the problem is not an empty tank. The problem is a leaky one. Imagine your soul is a beautiful, ancient vessel. It is meant to hold the precious water of your life force, your psychic energy. But over the years, through countless acts of service, of self-sacrifice, of silent endurance, tiny, invisible cracks have formed, and you are leaking. You are not failing to get more energy. You are losing the precious energy you already have through openings you were never taught to see. I've seen this story 1,000 times in my work and in my own life. I remember a woman I'll call Sarah, a 48-year-old teacher, a wonderful mother to 2 teenagers. She did everything right. Yoga on Tuesdays, 8 hours of sleep a night, a healthy diet. But she sat in my office with tears in her eyes and said, "I feel like a ghost. I wake up tired, and I go through my day feeling like I'm wading through wet cement." Sarah's problem wasn't her schedule. It was the leaks. And in my experience, for women experiencing this kind of burnout, there are 3 great leaks. 3 powerful, invisible currents that drain the soul. The first great leak is the sheer weight of the mask you wear. In Jungian psychology, we call this the persona. It is the carefully constructed face you show the world. The good mother, the dedicated professional, the supportive wife, the strong friend. This mask is necessary. It helps us function in society. But for so many of us, the mask has grown too heavy. It demands a constant, relentless performance. To be patient when you are screaming inside. To be competent when you feel like you are falling apart. To be available when you are desperate to be alone. The energy it takes to uphold this flawless performance day after day is immense. It is the first great leak. The second great leak is the energy it takes to suppress your shadow. Your shadow, in Jungian terms, is like a heavy backpack that you've been carrying for decades. Inside this backpack are all the emotions you were taught were unacceptable. Your rage, your grief, your envy, your deep, desperate need for rest. As women, we are often taught from a very young age to put these feelings in the backpack, to smile when we are angry, to say, "I'm fine" when we are heartbroken. But that backpack doesn't carry itself. It takes a tremendous amount of your life force, your psychic energy, just to keep that bag on your shoulders and pretend it isn't there. Every time you swallow your anger, you are leaking energy. Every time you push away your sadness, you are leaking energy. This is the second great leak. And the third great leak, perhaps the most subtle and painful of all, is the grief of the unlived life. It is the quiet, constant drain of the passions you put aside, the artist you never became, the book you never wrote, the journey you never took, the music you stopped playing. These parts of you did not die. They live in the basement of your soul, like ghost children, quietly calling for your attention. And the energy it takes to ignore their calls, to keep them locked away so you can be a responsible adult, is a slow, heartbreaking drain on your vitality. It is the quiet ache of a soul that is not fully expressed. This is the third great leak. The mask of the persona, the weight of the shadow, the grief of the unlived life. These are not your failings. They are the hidden landscapes of your exhaustion, the sources of the drain. So pause here, just for a moment. Breathe, and gently ask yourself, which of these leaks feels the most familiar to you right now? Because seeing the source of the leak is the very first step towards healing it. It is the moment we stop blaming the vessel and begin with great compassion to learn the art of repair. But how do we do that? How do we begin to translate the message that our fatigue is sending? So we have seen the leaks, the heavy mask, the suppressed shadow, the unlived life. And here we arrive at the great turning point, the place where most of us make a crucial mistake. We have been told our entire lives that fatigue is the enemy, a problem to be solved, a weakness to be overcome, and so we declare war on it. This is the common error. We try to power through. We double the caffeine. We force ourselves to the gym. We plaster on a smile and tell everyone we're fine.
We try to conquer our body's message instead of listening to it. The consequence of this war is a profound inner split. You become two people, the exhausted woman who is desperate for rest, and the inner drill sergeant who is screaming at her to keep moving. This internal battle is more draining than any task on your to-do list. It is a war against yourself. And in a war against yourself, there are no winners. You are not just tired anymore. You are defeated. But what if there is another way? This is the true solution, the one that Carl Jung's work points us toward. It is a radical and deeply compassionate shift in perspective. What if you were to stop fighting your fatigue and start befriending it? What if you were to stop trying to silence this messenger and instead invite it in for a conversation? This is the great reframe. We must stop asking the question, how do I get rid of this exhaustion? And start asking the question, what is this exhaustion trying to tell me? Let me tell you what happened with Sarah, the teacher I mentioned. For months, she fought. She scheduled more activities, trying to energize herself. She felt guilty every time she wanted to sit down. One Saturday, she was supposed to volunteer at a school event. Her body simply said no. It wasn't a decision. It was a physical reality, a leaden weight in her limbs, a fog in her mind. She sat on the edge of her bed, ready to cry from frustration. And for the first time, instead of fighting, she surrendered. She lay back down, and she asked the question. "Okay," she whispered to the quiet room, "what are you trying to tell me?" And in the silence that followed, the answers began to arrive. Not in a loud voice, but in a quiet, undeniable knowing. Her fatigue was translating the messages from the three great leaks. For the heavy mask of her persona, her fatigue was saying, "You are allowed to be imperfect. You are allowed to not have all the answers. You are allowed to let someone else be the strong one for a change. Let the mask crack a little. It is the only way the light can get in." For the suppressed weight of her shadow, her fatigue was saying, "Your anger is valid. The resentment you feel when you say yes but mean no is real. Your sadness for the things you've lost is real. Stop pretending you don't feel them. Feeling them will not kill you. Pretending is what is killing you." And for the grief of her unlived life, her fatigue was saying, "Remember the girl who loved to paint? Remember the woman who wanted to travel? They are still here, and they are starving. A small piece of your soul is dying of neglect every day you pretend they don't exist." That moment of listening did not magically cure Sarah's exhaustion, but it changed everything. It ended the war. She realized her body was not her enemy. It was her most loyal, honest ally. It was the only part of her that could not lie. So I invite you now, wherever you are, just for a moment, pause here. You can place your hand on your heart or on your stomach, wherever you feel that weariness the most. Close your eyes if that feels right, and gently with no expectation of an immediate answer. Just ask the question inwardly. What are you trying to tell me? Just asking the question is an act of profound self-compassion. It is the beginning of a new relationship with yourself, one based not on criticism, but on curiosity. Not on force, but on kindness. You are no longer a broken machine to be fixed. You are a living mystery to be explored. This shift in awareness is the first, most crucial step in any deep healing. It is the foundation upon which true rest is built. But how do we turn this new question, this new awareness, into a new way of living, day by day? How do we practice this art of listening in a world that is always shouting?
We have asked the question, and in the quiet of our own hearts, we have begun to hear the answers. The messages from the mask, from the shadow, from the life that is waiting to be lived. This awareness is a profound gift, but it is also here, at this hopeful new beginning, that we face a final, subtle mistake. It is the mistake of a culture obsessed with achievement. We take this sacred, gentle invitation to listen, and we try to turn it into another project to perfect. We create a self-care to-do list. Meditate for 20 minutes, journal 3 pages, take a perfect bath. We try to perform our healing just as we have performed our lives. And the consequence is a quiet, heartbreaking return of the very exhaustion we are trying to heal. Self-care becomes just another chore. Listening to our soul becomes another standard we can fail to meet. The war is not truly over. It has just changed uniforms. But the true path to rest, the solution that Jung's work illuminates for us, is not about adding more tasks to your life. It is about subtracting the resistance in your heart. It is not about doing more. It is about being with more kindness. True rest is not a destination you arrive at. It is a practice of small, sacred moments of listening, woven into the fabric of your ordinary day. These are not grand gestures, they are micro-attunements, tiny acts of rebellion against the tyranny of should. Let's go back to Sarah. After her moment of surrender, she didn't quit her job or run away to an ashram. Her life from the outside looked almost exactly the same. But on the inside, everything was different. She began the quiet practice of reclaiming her soul's energy, one tiny, gentle act at a time. The first thing she did was to honor the message from her fatigue about her unlived life. She didn't sign up for a masterful art class she didn't have time for. Instead, she went into her attic and found her daughter's old box of watercolors. And one evening, instead of scrolling on her phone before bed, she sat for just 10 minutes and painted a simple, imperfect leaf. It wasn't for anyone to see. It wasn't to be good. It was simply to feed that starving artist child inside her. it was a micro-attunement. The second practice she began was a new kind of journaling, not to record what she did, but to continue the conversation she had started. Before she went to sleep, she would take her notebook and write one single question at the top of the page. If my fatigue could speak today, what would it say? Some days the answer was a torrent of words about her frustration at work. Other days it was a single, sad sentence. I miss my own mother. She didn't try to solve the answers. She just listened. She allowed the page to become a safe space for her shadow's voice. This was a sacred act of listening. And the third, perhaps most powerful practice was what I call the body compass. Several times a day, in the middle of the chaos, at her desk, in her car, waiting in line at the grocery store, she would simply pause. She would close her eyes for just 30 seconds, and she would do a quick, silent scan of her body. What do you need right now? She would ask. Sometimes her shoulders, tight with the weight of her persona, would scream for a deep breath. So she would breathe. Sometimes her legs, restless from sitting, would beg for a short walk. So, at lunch, she would walk around the block. She began to treat her body not as a workhorse to be commanded, but as a wise and tender animal to be cared for. Painting a leaf, asking a question, taking a breath. These sound so small, don't they? Almost insignificant. But in a life that has been starved of self-compassion, these small acts are everything. They are the first drops of rain on a parched land. They are the slow, steady work of sealing the cracks in the vessel of your soul. This is the beginning of true shadow work, the integration of your deepest needs into your conscious life. So I invite you to pause here one last time. Gently ask yourself, what is one tiny, micro-attunement your soul is asking for today? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Is it 5 minutes of silence? Is it listening to a song from your youth? Is it saying a gentle no to one small request? Because the path to reclaiming yourself is not a giant leap. It is 1,000 tiny steps of kindness. It is the quiet, revolutionary choice to finally, after all these years, treat yourself like someone you love. This is not the end of the journey to find rest. It is the end of the war against yourself. And that is the only piece that matters.
And so we arrive here, at the end of this quiet path we have walked together today. We began with the diagnosis of our invisible wounds, the leaks that drain the precious energy of our soul. We moved to the sacred act of asking a new question, not how to fight our body, but how to listen to it. And finally, we arrived at the gentle practice of the first steps, the tiny, revolutionary acts of kindness toward ourselves. It is so easy,
even now, to fall back into the old mistake, to believe that this too must be a grand project, a mountain to be conquered. We think that to heal a lifetime of burnout, we must perform a lifetime of perfect self-care. And the consequence of that belief is that we simply begin the war again under a different name. We begin to judge our healing. We begin to measure our rest. And we remain exhausted. But the true solution, the quiet wisdom at the heart of Carl Jung's work, is not about achieving a perfect state of rest. It is about achieving a state of peace with your own imperfection. It is about ending the inner war. The journey of shadow work is not about eliminating the parts of you that feel tired or angry or sad. It is about finally welcoming them home. It is the profound realization that your body is not a machine to be optimized, but a sacred landscape to be honored. Your fatigue is not your enemy. It was only ever a messenger, pointing the way back to you, to your needs, to your truth, to the life that is still waiting to be lived. So what we have found here together is not the end of tiredness. That is not the promise. Life will bring its burdens. What we have found is the end of the war against yourself. And that peace, that inner ceasefire, is the only true rest there is. It is the freedom that comes from no longer needing to be strong, but simply allowing yourself to be human, whole, and finally, at peace. So as we close our time together today, I invite you to make a quiet commitment, a single, gentle act of listening that you will offer yourself in the next 24 hours. Perhaps it is 5 minutes of silence with no agenda. Perhaps it is saying a kind no to a small request. Perhaps it is simply placing a hand on your heart and breathing. In the comments below, I invite you to share this one small act. This is not just a comment. It is a declaration. It is a vote for your own well-being. It is the first sentence in a new conversation with your soul. And by sharing it, you give other women permission to do the same. Our journey of healing, of course, does not end here. This path is not a straight line. There will be days when the leaks feel overwhelming, when the mask feels glued to your face, when you feel you are running on empty with nothing left to give. And for those days, we need more than a philosophy. We need a survival guide, a psychological first aid kit to help us through the storm. And that, my friends, is where our journey will continue.